Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Narcus Dave and I am joined by these fine nerds today for some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons Ashes of Ardor with our esteemed Dungeon Master Steven Partridge at the helm, which I'm going to hand it over to you and let you introduce your game however you like.
Okay. Hi everybody. Welcome to the game. This is a dark fantasy game, full disclosure. And we love Syrinscape here because they help us with music and sound effects. I'm going to start by rolling my trusty Nerdarchy D4. Look how beautiful that is. And whoever it lands on is going to give us their recap and pass it off. So we have Ted tonight.
Hey everybody, I am Ted, Nerdarcus Ted. You might be familiar with who I am. Tonight I'm going to be playing Strawn Graydon, the human druid, Circle of the Stone Gaze. And last week we started off by having a year off. We had time as the order that we belong to kind of fell apart, and some of us decided to band together and try to recruit others to come and learn how to use and control the green flame that's necessary for destroying the evil in this world. And for a time, we had gotten up to 17, 18 members. It was fantastic. We had some hope. We had some designs on, where the future might go. But as with all things, it must come to an end. So I'm going to roll a die and see who I'm going to pass it to. That's going to go to Robin.
Yeah, things were looking up. I wonder what happened at that point. I wonder what could have possibly happened to all of those shiny new recruits. All right, so what I remember about last week was the Islari woman that joined us. One of the aforementioned recruits got kind of shady for a minute there. And we weren't entirely sure what she was doing because she and Doug's character kept passing notes in class. Stessa Tricos, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Okay. I'm getting to the point that I can remember all your names. So the rest of us are just kind of side-eyeing her a little bit. What's going on with this? Is she going to betray us at the last minute? Turns out she was not going to betray us at the last minute. She pulls out all of these shards that we need so that we didn't have to go gather them ourselves, and was like, okay, if you guys behave yourselves, I'll work with you instead of against you, and my army's bigger than yours. And Senta's not entirely happy about that. So why don't we pass it to Dave and find out what happened to all of those shiny new recruits we mentioned?
Well, first of all, said individual I am very fond of, and so is my character, because she understood the brilliance of Gortham's plan and taking all those new raw recruits and forcing them through the crucible, so when they came out the other side, they would be better than ever and ready to restore the order to its former glory.
Except they didn't come out the other side.
Unfortunately, they came out the other side as they smashed up against the hordes of the Umbral, and they were not up to snuff. Honestly, I don't want to point fingers, but apparently my group did not get very good recruits. They got what they could find. They did their best, but at the end of the day, it was an inferior product that caused an inferior outcome. No one could have seen that coming. So who wants to point fingers? But in the meantime, we were collecting, shards that we believe might be a phoenix egg. That once we get them all together, perhaps the phoenix will come back. With that, I guess that just leaves Doug. What do you got to add?
So yes, I am Nerder Doug. I'm playing Dessa Tricos, who is a Eslari Shaggy Soul Sorcerer, which is like a Leonin, but particular to Steven's world. And what I remember is that I want to say it was Gortham's idea to capture a chroma spawn or some sort of monster from the Umber Horde so that we could use it in captivity to train recruits and things like that. To that end, we went to check out our ruined keep to see if we had somewhere to keep a monster, and discovered there was a whole dungeon with cages and all sorts of stuff down there. There's also strange experimental glass canisters, one of which had broke and released some sort of slurpy creature made of inky darkness that we fought off. And during that battle, we discovered a secret passageway behind a dungeon wall that led to this really cool, like ancient stairway that went down into the earth. And we found a giant map, which indicated where all those magical rings were. And we kind of surmised that it's some sort of teleportation network, which we tested out after we had done all the things that everybody else had wonderfully described. And we left off with Gortham pressing the button, so to speak, and just using it. And we don't know where he went.
Well, I will have to say, though, Gortham being the honorable Minotaur that he is, and Barbarian, did not come up with that plan. Although he did see the brilliance of it afterwards. I think it might have been Senta that came up with that plan. He did definitely not, but he did see the merit to it afterwards.
Okay.
Yep. And so after you guys took the portal to one of the marked locations from the map where you found Silver Abbey, you ended up taking the portal yet again after a nice lunch. So functionally, everyone has had a long rest. And so you can recover your things because you have now prepared and touched it once again, thinking about where you need to find this next shard of this Jade Phoenix egg as you've discovered it to be. So who is touching the thing first?
Well, I believe Gortham, if we're going to your homeland,
yeah,
it might be best if you precede us. Plus, you like touching the magical things.
I think he definitely would do that. He definitely is a toucher of things.
Okay, so Gortham, you reach for this ring. You actually have to climb to this part of the building where it's a little bit higher up. And as you reach for it, you feel your entire body just sort of suctioning towards the sky. And as you do, your entire body is just whoom, and you feel your ears pop. It's really hot. It's really cold. There's a rush, like a wind, maybe water. And you are spat out of this wormhole. And you find your experience surging downward, surging. You're falling towards a ceiling, and then you fall through the ceiling and you find yourself in a dark but sunlit, thankfully for windows, otherwise empty stone temple. And you see these columns, these tall red and green columns that are accented with gold rising up in this area. There's a thick layer of dust on everything. There's some snow mingled in as well. It's frigid here. Your breath frosts from your mouth as you exhale. The rest of you also take the portal and find yourselves in the same location. And you look around and you see that there are these very tall chimes. They're tubular chimes that are gonging faintly with the wind. And you find yourselves in what seems to be an abandoned temple of some sort.
I will start tapping my gong, my war gong, into the rhythm of the chimes. And also, Dave's headcanon is this very much works like the vacuum tubes at the bank when you're going through the drive-thru at the bank, and that's what I think we've all just experienced.
Destrikos is going to use the Emperor's robe to cause his fur to like thicken up against the cold. He's totally fine.
Okay. All right.
Like this doesn't look like a very settled place, Gortham.
Does the architecture look familiar?
Oh yes, it looks very familiar. As you look up, it's almost like you can see through the roof a little bit, just the faint outline of this ring that you've come from. And when you look down at the floor, you notice when you brush away some of the snow and dust with your hoof, there is a carving on the floor here that resembles the carving that you found underground in Silver Abbey.
Oh, the circle?
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to one of the windows and look out.
Okay. So you look out of this window. These windows are huge. They aren't glassed, they aren't barred. They're just holes in the wall essentially that span from roughly knee length all the way up to the high ceiling. And as you look out, you see this settlement of square towers and buildings stacked upon one another, arranged in a labyrinthine city over which you look. The city exists in the middle of the high mountains. The places where there is a gap between mountains and settlements, there are these long bridges that span. Some of them are rickety and swaying in the wind. Others are solid and have archways that are very decorated with carvings and gold and colors. You see other minotaurs bustling on the streets down below, but there is a long stairway path between you and them.
I wanna kind of like bolt for the stairs. I mean, almost skipping, and he's tapping his war gong as he does, and come on, Mom's mutton's awaiting. You're gonna really like this.
I'll follow along, but to Senta and Strand, looking at gesturing towards the thing on the floor, be like, all these rings seem to, or so far, lead to different temples and abbeys. Do you think that has any bearing on this? I mean,
Religions are a large portion of where people tend to gather. It would allow for more transportation between places and be able to hold a lot to guarantee that you can get in, or the case may be get out by the large group.
These rings are also very powerful. It might have taken all the gods' might to create them.
Or maybe something that's not quite godly.
Well, don't they have all the the carvings are all of the various pantheons, right?
So the carvings on the floor represent the different races. There are 13 salient races, but there aren't carvings of gods in here as such. It's an empty temple, and there are these tubular chimes in sections between these big thick pillars, and then there are the pillars, but it's otherwise fairly empty. There's a big set of double doors that leads into another part of the temple.
So, as we're following along, Senta, who's having to kind of jog a little bit to keep up because she's smaller than you guys, is gonna huff a little bit and be and let's not forget that religious sites hold a lot of focus for the people.
True.
That's got a power in and of itself.
So Santa Strawn would walk with you so that you've got somebody to stay without having to feel like you're running to keep up.
She's 100% still trying to keep up with Dasatricos. It's a pride thing. Stubborn dwarf.
Pun intended.
Ha! No, it wasn't, but I will claim that one.
Do we think that the shard that we're looking for is going to be here in the temple or out in the town?
Hard to say. Where was the last one?
It was underneath the order.
So there's probably a good chance that it is here, but I don't know. I mean, if it was just here lying around, then what are the odds somebody's moved it?
Well, we should leave no stone unturned.
If I realize they're not keeping up, I'll slow down because I know the Minotaur homestead can be a little bit overwhelming and confusing to newcomers.
Yeah, Destricos would actually kind of be wary on those bridges, like really like holding on to the, if there's like a, like a guideline or anything like that. Does not like that.
So you guys aren't actually out of the temple yet.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Oh, we're just in the long stairway. You said.
Yeah. You're approaching to the next room.
Even that, is it kind of like a steep stairway with like just open to the air?
No, it's not a stairway open to the air yet. That
Okay.
would be towards the town.
Okay.
You're still in the temple proper.
Okay.
Basically, you have to navigate through the temple.
Gotcha.
And
Oh, it's probably like labyrinthine.
uh-huh. And
Yeah, I would
as you
probably
guys-
be like calling to Gortham if he's like getting out of sight, like getting a little worried. Just like, Gortham, did you? There's too many turns in here.
And so Gortham will like stop and wait for him to catch up.
Okay. As you guys are going through this temple, you notice that it seems very abandoned. And it's not readily apparent what deity this was even to, because what carvings would exist or statuary is broken down.
Am I familiar with this location from like when I looked outside to like when I was able to like identify like kind of where I was at?
Yes, actually. You know that this particular temple that you are in was once used to serve one of the gods that your people killed.
Oh,
So is the temple in like fine condition? Does it look like it's seen use lately, or is it?
I think so. He described it as abandoned.
Make a perception check or investigation, your choice.
That's absolutely going to be perception for me. That's going to be an 11.
Okay. So you do hear, and you begin to realize you've been hearing and just it never registered. There are these doors that have been opening and closing in the distance.
In the direction we're going, or the direction behind us?
In a direction to the side.
So I think there's someone else here.
is this place known for like having noises come from it?
Make a religion or history check.
Let's see. I believe they're going to be the same for me.
And you're really good at this,
You're
right?
All right, come on, do the rolly thing. Well, that would be a dirty 1.
Oh wow.
Oh no, never mind. It's a dirty 10. It's not a dirty.
Dirty 10.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you are aware that there were rumors growing up that there was some sort of soothsayer, seer, something like that that lived up here, but your people pretty much abhor magic. And since you already don't worship here, it was just sort of the thing where you leave whoever is here alone, they leave you alone.
Well, I mean, there is someone that lived here before. He was a dirty magic. He was a magic user, and our people really don't like those. And we just leave sleeping mages lie where they are, or something like that. I mean, we killed the god that built this place a long time ago. We figured that was good enough. We just
If one of the
Well,
shards we
glad
seek
to hear
to-
there are some of you that will actually leave mages alone. What do the rest of you think? Do we explore, or do we move on?
If that shard we seek is here, it's someone resides here. They may know of it, or at least know what's been going on in this temple, if anything.
I have found that deep abiding hatred does not generally lead to the most unbiased stories lingering. There's likely a deeper truth here that we will find if we check it out.
I'll begin heading off the direction that I heard stuff.
Okay.
Follow.
All right. So you come up to these really big doors once again, and these seem to be locked.
Oh, Santa,
Yes.
door's locked. Might you be able to do something about that?
I can fix that. Thieves' tools check.
Yep, sleight of hand.
Oh,
And if you have advantage or expertise in it, then you add that to it.
18.
18. The lock easily clicks, and you are able to get the doors open.
Can I do a mock little bow after you?
Like, push the door with some effort and step through.
Strawn, when you walk through, you find that you are in a room that is crumbling, even more so than the aspects of religion from this temple. The walls are crumbled here. It's almost completely open to the air. You see the stairway that leads down into the town along the mountainside to your left. But sitting in the middle of this room in the harsh winter is what at first you might mistake to be a shaggy cloaked figure, until you realize the shaggy black fur is just a part of them.
Okay.
It's a minotaur, just sort of hunched and very withdrawn, with their back turned to you.
All right.
You see they're wearing some sort of fur kilt with beads and different things on it. You see beads and jewelry woven into the fur along the shoulders and the long hair.
So I'll, kind of call out, not like yell, but just kind of speak in common. Hail and greetings.
And this voice you hear is that of an elderly woman, as she sort of scoots and turns herself in as she begins standing to her full 8-foot height. You disturb ashes that have not been disturbed for an age. Why?
They're trying to set things right.
Hungry.
What'd you say?
I was hungry.
Hungry, but not for food.
Oh no, absolutely. I wanted mom's mutton.
Then why would you come up here to disturb me?
Oh, because we came through the thing, the portal.
This is where the magic happened to spit us out.
In the other room?
You came from the ring.
We did.
I see.
Yeah, it was kind of like being stretched real long and then squished back together.
I'm like having flashbacks to the old gods of Appalachia right now. Give me a second.
Hey, Steven, what is our keep called? Did we get it? Does it have a name? Or the region or whatever where it was?
It was called the Jade Hold, but I mean, you guys are the only ones left to care for it. So
Now it's
Okay,
the
I
Jade
just didn't know
Hole.
if it hit.
I like calling it the Jade Hole.
Hold, not hole.
Yeah.
No, Dave says because it's broken. The call.
Yeah, now it's just the Jade Hole. That's what happens when giant worms slam into it.
So this woman takes out this clay cup, and the cup has carvings all over it. And she places her hand over the opening, and she begins shaking. And you hear rattling like dice. And she dumps it, and these different bones and beads roll across the floor. And you see her clear the shaggy fur away from her eyes, and she has one that's this vivid purple and the other that is a vibrant orange.
I would like to stop one of the rolling stones with my foot as it's coming this way.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So you believe in making your own destiny, don't you?
Destiny is a bit of luck, a bit of happenstance, and choice.
But you, and she walks up to Senta, you stopped it. You're a
It was
gray
close enough.
dwarf.
I just like lift my chin.
How
There's-
did you get to be colorless, child?
That's quite a long story, and I believe we have more prudent matters to discuss.
Fair. Well, don't let me keep you then. The
Oh.
stairs are right over there.
We were hoping you might have some information that might be useful to us.
Useful?
We're looking for a green shard,
A green shard, you say?
led to believe that they are scattered amongst the world, and there's one in the vicinity here.
Huh. Well, there's no green shard here. However, there is one in the gong in the center of town.
Well, that sounds a lot like what we were looking for.
You know, there's a festival about to start. And whoever wins the tournament gets to ring the gong. And Gortham, you're very familiar with this. There is a tournament which is held every year at this festival. And the tournament is a basically something of a fisticuffs match combined with a level of performance. And the goal is to win the competition through score or knockout. And the winner gets to bang the gong one time. And it's said that if the right person bangs it, that eventually the green shard that's been embedded in it since forever will come loose and be their prize.
I've got good news for you guys. We get to knock someone out. And we might get a shard too.
Serendipitous.
What may.
That might be a task best suited for you, my large friend. I'm not one to knock one out, so to speak.
If there's a fight, I'm willing.
Oh, I'm willing. I just, your people are not going to like my way of doing things, so I'm probably pretty useless here.
That's fair.
You said it, my friend. Let's go look for the tournament.
You should stop and see your mother while we're here as well.
Hear that, folks? He actually called me friend.
And we'll pause and look at the woman that was just speaking to us. And there's like another slight awkward silence. Like Senta's been very taciturn since we walked in here and clearly very uncomfortable. But she will begrudgingly say, "Thank you for your guidance."
You're welcome.
Before we go, I'd hate to waste it. What does your casting say?
My casting says that this one, and she gestures to Senta, makes her own destiny. It says that this one, pointing to Desatrikos, has a destiny yet to fulfill.
As Larry do.
It says you, and she looks at Gortham. You have been very careless in your past. And if you continue that path, well, I'm glad that I am not going with you down that path. And about you, and she looks to Strawn, you may be the most interesting one of all, because it says your blood is older than I might first think.
Well, I don't know anything about that. I'm human. Here, I feel I'm a walking target, as our friend here tells us that, his kind don't particularly care for magic, and that's what I'm all about.
Oh, they absolutely hate magic and those that wield it. So much.
Her meaty fingers are like the size of your whole hand,
Mm-hmm.
and she caresses your cheek. What's this?
Well, before I met some of these fine folk here, I got a little too curious, and I was new in the ways of, shall we say, the woods and nature. And I stumbled upon a lair, and at that point in time, my lizard comes crawling up my shoulder. It's white eyes, clearly, clearly obvious that it doesn't have sight any longer. But I ran afoul of some of this guy's older cousins, and I became a statue.
Mm.
And there I stayed for some time. Someone who would eventually become my mentor came by, and, well, I had no perception as a statue, but he freed me with a touch. But it did not completely come undone. And, he touches the rocky scar, if you want to call it that. There's not many that have this condition. I've learned to tap into that power, to use it, to control it. And it might be a waste, but, screw it, I'll do it anyway. And I'll will the stone into my body. And you watch as, like, the whole right side of my body, all of the skin just becomes a rocky carapace.
And you say you were petrified?
Indeed.
She leans in so that her frosted breath wafts around you. If your mentor was strong enough to remove such a thing, I would be very careful of someone that powerful.
Well, he trained me for a while. Didn't care much for names beyond teacher and mentor. Did not care so much for compassion, but saw that I knew the ways already. I already spoke the language. And before too long, he went his way and I went mine.
I see. Well, do be careful. Speaking as a fellow druid, and she's speaking this in druidic.
Ah.
I know about the ways of the world, and the world itself can be quite unkind to those who are not careful.
Well, when she switches to druidic, I would answer in kind. Nature is about balance, and right now we are out of balance. We're out of sync, and I and my friends wish to see what can be done about restoring that. And we feel that finding these shards will do much in order to restore that which has been broken.
Very good then. And Senta, what is your passive perception?
10.
10. Okay, never mind. I'm going to let you make a roll though because you have stone cunning.
Okay. I nat 20.
Okay. So you as you are here in this temple and you start to walk towards this stairway, something catches your eye in the carving. It's remnants of something that was attempted to be crumbled, but it looks eerily familiar to the carvings that were under your keep. You see a snake-like figure who's wrapped around various minotaurs at different points. And this is throughout the wall. It's not just in one location.
Like a motif.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna grab out a piece of parchment and take a rubbing.
Okay.
Well, what is... You said in this room, there's a lot of stuff that's crumbling and broken.
Mm-hmm.
What is the stone? Is anything that's a higher quality or, semi-precious stone? Like, I'm not talking gems. I'm, like, is it marble? Is it anything, nicer?
It is.
So I would look my leave, and I'll gesture towards, some of the more, fist, head-sized rubble. And any of this precious or sacred to you?
No. Only in so much as that a reputation can ward away those that would wish you harm.
So I will mage hand a piece over to me.
Okay.
That's something that Strawn does. When we have downtime, he will carve on stone.
Kitty. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I gotta use those tool proficiencies, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we're walking away, and I guess probably still just about within earshot of the old soothsayer, Gortham will. Don't worry, friends. Don't worry about forced destinies. Me and my people know a little bit about that. There are those that try to force their destinies upon us as well. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Seems your reputation for mistrusting magic might have been a little exaggerated as well.
What do you mean?
That old woman in there reading the runes.
She's
parlor
the
trick
only Minotaur I've ever met that uses magic.
that you know of.
Well, that's true. They could be hiding it, I guess.
Is that why is she? I mean, do you know that woman? Is she sort of?
No, she's the old soothsayer. We stay away from here. She haunts this place like a ghost.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Gortham, you're the only Minotaur I've ever met who hates magic, so...
Well, she didn't say that she didn't hate magic.
You can speak without words, and it was clear in her stance, in her words, and in the way she moved, that she doesn't hate magic when it's blatantly used in front of her.
Maybe, but sometimes people have to do things that they don't like. They do them anyway. It's just the way of the world. But as I said, that is the only Minotaur I've ever met that uses magic, and she's always hidden away in here, and I've never seen her before.
So when he says sometimes people have to do things they don't like, Senta leans over and whispers he's talking about taking baths.
Tell me about it.
So, how bad is this climb gonna be?
It's gonna be invigorating.
Okay.
The stairs down, right? The stairs go down into
The
town,
stairs
right?
do go down.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need everybody to make either a acrobatics or athletics check.
Yes, as I say, is it like open to the air too? Like
It is
mountains
open
and-
to the air, and you feel that wind just almost blasting you off
Yes, I am not liking these.
of
Be
the
28.
stairway.
Careful.
28.
Acrobatics.
What is athletics? Ooh,
Show
10.
off. 26 athletics.
That is a dirty 20 for acrobatics because I
got
rolled an
10.
18.
So, Senta, describe how you descend these stairs flawlessly.
All right, so like I'm imagining like they're round. Is that correct?
They're more like serpentine
Okay.
following the mountain face.
All right, so like but there's no like railing or anything.
Correct.
So I'm like going over edges and like flopping and like planting feet on the other side and just pushing off and ping-ponging my way down.
Okay. So you guys watch the Gray Dwarf pinball.
So, what the fact that there's people going before I'm expecting I'm going to fall, as I'm not the most athletically inclined of the group. So Strawn is just like, all right, go ahead, and he taps the top of the rock. He looks at it and says, all right, this is steady as a rock, and he just methodically takes one step, one pace at a time,
Okay.
even if he's got to go slower.
And you go just a bit slower, but you're also not ping-ponging back and forth.
Right.
And you manage to safely descend. Gortham, how do you descend?
I think Gortham is like running down the stairs at the prospect of both being able to get some of Mom's mutton, and he's probably going to get to punch somebody in the face.
Okay. So you're just charging like a bull in a china shop
Pretty
down
much.
those stairs.
Yeah, it's like a combination of running and falling.
Okay. That's fair. That's very Gortham of you. And Desatrikos.
Well, I got 10. I don't know if that succeeds. If it does, then it would be incredibly slow and like one step at a time, like gingerly, because like
Mhm.
the same way like cats can't climb down trees. It's like going down. It's like, like I'm not sure, and
Mhm.
it's slippery and everything. So he would be going extremely slow if he doesn't fall at all.
The wind catches your luscious mane,
Mhm.
and
Which is extra
you are
furry.
blown. I need you to make a strength saving throw.
All right. 7.
7.
But I think I had some kind. I'm not that it'll probably matter, but isn't there some sort of magic? Oh, that's an ability check. Never mind. Yep, 7.
So,
Would I be able to thorn whip him? Like if he starts to fall off, can I thorn whip him back?
you actually watch as Desatrikos' mane is caught whipping in this wind and an especially strong gust behind the rest of you. And with horror as he falls over the edge. You can use a reaction to try to thorn whip him.
All right, so I got to make an attack roll here. 14.
Does 14 hit your armor
Oh
class?
yeah, it does. Yep.
So I don't know if I can.
You can minimize the damage if you want.
All right, so then
You don't have to.
minimal is going to be 2 damage,
Okay.
but then I can pull you back onto the staircase.
I would just sit there like clutching my heart for a moment. Because probably, was it just like falling to his doom basically?
Yeah. Yeah, there were only clouds that you could
Okay.
see.
Oh,
So
shit.
yeah, I would just be like grim death, clinging to like not standing up, just like on the sitting on the edge, just like catching his breath.
Mm-hmm.
Strand, thank God.
And
Thank Shagos. I don't know how to do it.
Happy to help.
I'm glad this is the first place we went. I'm not keen to come back here.
Mm.
May I? And I like put a paw on his shoulder, on Strahn's shoulder.
Of course.
As you begin continuing your descent, you begin hearing gongs that are resounding in the town. And from your vantage, you can see soldiers begin moving. These soldiers are carrying these long halberds, which is like a polearm with an axe head and a spear. And they have these robes and furs and layers. And they're very individualized. They're not so much a uniform, but they all have the same weapon with the same red hilt. And you see that they begin assembling at the base of the stairs. And you can hear them shouting things about spellcasters. Seize the spellcaster.
Now what?
I want to bolt in that direction to help seize the spellcaster, of course.
They are running towards you.
Oh! Oh! Do you mean him?
And they pass you by. Since you were running towards them, they pass right by you, stampeding toward Senta, Desatrikos, and Strahn.
I see what you did there.
It's been nice knowing you guys.
Wait! He's with me!
And they surround Strahn, and if you allow it, Desatrikos and Senta, they will sort of use their bodies to shove you to the side as they're shouting about get away from the danger.
Oh, hell no, I'm not going to allow it.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna press closer and like, how many of these guys are there?
There are 4 currently.
I'm going to like make a big show of counting them, and then I'm going to say you came underprepared.
And to back her Senta up, I'm going to I'm just gonna like, is it night or day?
It is daytime right now. It is morning.
I'm gonna make a show with my green flame and just say, back, we don't mean you any harm.
Okay. So as this one is lowering his halberd toward Strahn and shouting at Senta, get back, ma'am. Desatrikos sends this arc of green fire, and immediately 2 of them turn their attention to him. And
Please, we don't mean you any harm. We come from Jade Hold.
make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Okay. Edit that. Ooh, not bad. 16?
16. Okay. They pause.
Hey,
The Jade Lotus are not welcome here.
don't worry, there's not many of them left.
And,
I've kind of been personally blamed for that.
Yes.
Which one of you proposes to keep us out?
All of us.
And when you fall,
There's
Make
more
an
back
intimidation check with advantage, Strawn.
there. I mean, there's more. There's a whole city.
No
town,
one need
village
fall.
over there.
One of your own is with us.
so that's gonna be that would be a 14.
A 14.
I'm really enjoying that Desatrikos is the one that's like trying really hard to make this not be a fight.
Is that
Wait,
right?
just listen. I use them to hunt mages. They're like bait.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh no.
Just a straight persuasion check, because you would have advantage, except that was not something they would believe likely.
That's a 10.
A 10. Okay. They sort of disregard what you have to say as they continue to train their weapons on Desatrikos and Strawn. And one of them says to Strawn, "You do understand that spellcasting and spellcasters are illegal here, right?"
No, my friend here failed to actually say anything more than just you hate those that use it.
That's what I've been trying to tell you the whole time.
Well,
I bet they were sent by the witch. And they start like pointing towards the temple from which you came.
we were not sent by the one in the tower.
I saw the ring glow when they came. I saw the ring glow.
That
ring
was an
indeed
accident.
glow.
Yes, we came through the ring from the Jade Hold. I used magic, and I'll point towards Desatrikos. He would have fallen off of the stairs. All I did was catch him and stop him from dying gruesomely.
He's an Aslari. Do you really want to save him?
He is
You
my
know their
friend.
people conquer others, right?
He is my
He's-
friend. Therefore, I wish him not to die.
He's not wrong. His people does conquer others.
That was in the past. Times are much different now. And we.
In the past, they're still conquering people.
Oh,
to
are
this
they?
day.
That was just
Right
my
now.
player. That was a
Yeah.
player snafu.
Yeah, there's like this perpetual ongoing war
Oh.
between the Aslari and the rest of the world.
Mm.
I mean, Xenia said as much, right?
I don't remember.
She did.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was like a captain.
So, I was not aware that those that practice magic are illegal. What is the crime? What is the punishment? Am I to be set to death? Am I to be forced out?
You're to be brought before the Magister.
Oh, that's good. We were headed in that direction anyway. Go on then.
So they will escort you guys to the center of town. You see that more soldiers sort of join their ranks as you go through the streets. And eventually you are brought to the middle of town, and you see this towering archway. And hanging from the archway at the top is this massive gong with what you would definitely recognize as one of the jade shards embedded in the very center. And there's
So-
this long, very heavy hammer that just barely reaches the gong, resting against the pole.
I want it on the record that like as they're like gathering, Cinta continues to have this like really arrogant attitude. Like she's acting like this is an honor guard and they are here to serve us, not like trying to like escort us somewhere as prisoners.
Well, I'm glad you have the confidence here. I'm preparing to, call forth wolves if
Oh really?
it comes to bloodshed, because this ain't gonna end well for me.
I'm
I think
making small
Desatrikos-
talk. Like,
Yeah.
what's been going on in the village? What's going on in the town? You know my mother? I've been gone for a couple years, out slaying the Umbral Horde. You know, the usual stuff.
They are actually entertaining what you have to say, and they are looking a little bit impressed. The rest of you would probably know that Minotaur society likes to brag and talk about great victories and legends and things. Eventually, you see this very hulking Minotaur that actually is much taller than any of the others you have met so far, standing at 12 feet tall.
Woohoo! Jeez.
He approaches, and he has these massive horns, and he's just covered in this shaggy brown fur, and he carries what would be 2 great axes to anyone else, but each one is just in one hand.
Yeah, that's badass.
And he approaches all of you. What's this?
Well, Matt, you're still as impressive. I am Cinta of the Jade Lotus. We've come to speak to you about the tournament that's going on.
The tournament.
Yes, your men were kind enough to give us an escort down here, and for that I thank them greatly.
One of them immediately just puts his halberd in front of you, and he says, "Sir, with all due respect, this one," and he gestures to Strawn, "is a spellcaster. And we apprehended him, and so is this one, the Aslari."
Indeed.
And I'm just gonna like give this guy a sidelong look like, bitch, please. Like, are you really gonna speak out of turn like that?
Steven, did you say we all know that like Minotaur culture is like that?
Yeah.
Then I would say, we've come from Jadehold to bring you a Chroma Spawn Slayer for your tournament this year. Gortham. What's his last name? Is it just
Mage
like
Killer?
He slew the Chroma Spawn of Jadehold, and now we've brought him here to test his mettle in your tournament.
You slayed a crumb spawn,
Sorry,
little
crumbs.
one. And he looks at Gortham when he says little one.
I'll puff out my chest and kind of like cross my arms. I did have some help. They helped. That's why I travel with them. Do you know, of all the non-Minotaurs that I've traveled across all the lands, these are the only ones that lived.
I see.
That's true.
I'm surprised. You
Me
have
too. But
an Aslari, which they never fight by themselves. A gray dwarf. So little. So very little. And
Oh, yeah,
a
there's
mage.
a smirk at that. You know,
I
like,
love
you'd be
these
surprised what I
Minotaurs.
can handle.
And Strawn is 6 foot tall, but he's like beanpole kind of skinny. So.
Tell you what. And he looks at Gortham with just this bit of impressiveness that he's trying to restrain. I will be merciful on your friends. And I will allow all 4 of you to compete in the tournament for the honor of the Four Winds Festival. And if any of you win, all of you will walk away having had the honor of banging the gong, and also with your lives. And if you fail, then the mage and the Aslari will remain with us.
sounds like a fair enough deal. Law is law, after all.
Yeah, it would have been nice to know the law before we got here, there, friend. So, what are the rules of this tournament?
Well, very simple. Strongest wins. You make a show, you earn points. You impress the judges, you earn points. The crowd cheers loud for you, you earn points. If you don't knock out your opponent, the one with the most points wins.
Is there anything that's not allowed?
Well, seeing as you've already broke the law about magic, I don't really see why magic would even be a factor here anymore. So you go ahead and use whatever piddly little sparkles you got.
And how is the end condition determined if there isn't a knockout?
By the points.
What is the goal of number of points then?
Whoever has the most.
Well, yes, but how do we know the fight is over if no one is knocked out?
Oh, it's timed. Each
Okay.
match lasts 1 minute.
1 minute.
You have 1 minute to impress the judges and the crowds.
My, what little patience. And I'm just like this truly lascivious smile. And like Cinta, like full well knowing that this guy is like legitimately 12 feet tall. Like she's specifically doing this to make him uncomfortable.
Would I know any kind of like, you know, like this guy's their leader, like what like their protocols are like, do they like people to bow or salute or, you know, like that kind of stuff to their leader?
Senta, you can make a performance or intimidation, and Desatricos, you can make a history check if you want.
Okay.
Oh, I am
Just over
not proficient in either of those things.
Ooh, 18.
I have a point of inspiration, and I'm gonna use it.
Okay.
Yeah, 14.
14.
hmm
Okay. So he actually, let me roll it for him real quick. He seems unnerved by you. And Desatrikos, you know that Minotaur society is often treated with one of three sentences, as it were. If you are believed to be guilty of something, you are either put to death on the spot, you are banished on the spot, or you do trial by combat. You probably would get the impression this is a trial by combat sort of situation.
Sure.
Just using the Four Winds Festival as an
Yeah.
excuse.
So this kind of being nice though in a way. I mean,
In a way. He genuinely doesn't know what to make of you all because Gortham was talking about slaying Cromspawn, and considering that they definitely had to deal with one, given that temple's state.
Yeah. Then I'll just say I look forward to proving Zalari's worth in your tournament. Is he a king? What is he, a chief king?
He's a magister.
A magister, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Thought he
That's
was a type.
interesting considering their disposition on magic.
Mm-hmm. Gortham, you would know that that term is a carryover from the time when your people did have gods and spellcasters ruled over them.
So they probably had some kind of tragic event.
We don't talk about that.
And I'll puff myself up.
Destros, you might be the first Islari ever to compete in one of our tournaments.
I'm honored. I look forward to it.
When does this tournament happen?
Tomorrow morning. And seeing as you have already caused some mischief, I will assign these four, and he looks at the four that apprehended you, to be your personal bodyguards.
Are you sure? You don't have anybody more capable?
Do I need somebody more capable, little one?
Well,
I don't know.
when-
Do you? Are
when
we
you
in
said that we
danger
would-
here? Again, that smirk, like she doesn't believe they are.
Oh,
Look.
it's a Minotaur town. You're always in danger. Come, friends.
Well, if somebody attacks us and they fall, that's fine. Lead the way.
Okay. So from here, all of you can kind of go your own separate ways if you want, because each of you has a guard assigned to you.
I have no agenda in this Minotaur town. I'll just
I
follow
do.
Gortham. Yeah, I mean, I follow
So-
Gortham.
You have one day to burn.
First thing is going home.
Okay. So you are going home. Is anyone accompanying him?
I think we all are for the moment, unless Gortham doesn't want us to meet his mother.
Yeah, I'll go meet Gortham's mother, but after that, I'm gonna go shopping and make this guy carry all my bags.
Okay. All right. So you guys wind your way through this maze-like street. There are times that you descend stairways. There are times that you ascend stairways. It's really very labyrinthine in design. And eventually, you make your ways, following Gortham, to a domicile that is erected with several different homes built into it. It's basically an apartment building. But there are different families that live on different levels. And he will take you on the stairway that sort of spirals the square building up to the 4th story. And Gortham, how are you entering your parents' home?
Well, I guess I would observe if there's any Minotaur traditions for such things.
Wipe your hooves.
Yep, that's the big one. Wipe your hooves. And
I'll
you
make sure they
smell-
wipe their hooves on the way in.
Did they have a mat that has like a kitschy saying on it in front of the door?
It doesn't have a kitschy saying, but it does have a rune, which you would know to be a rune that means protection or warding. It's not actually magical. It's just an inane sigil, an innate sigil, whatever. Mundane. That's what I'm looking for. Mundane.
Like in real life, how people might put something on their door. But...
And
come, my friends, come meet my family. So who is home when we enter?
You open the door, and the first thing you're hit with is a barrage of different fragrant spices that you would recognize signals that there is dinner on the stove, and you do see what is essentially a wok with really tall sides that has some bubbling rice and meat and vegetables all in this bright orange sauce that smells spicy, savory, sweet. It's got a lot of different elements to it. And standing at the stove is your mother.
Mother, I want you to meet my friends. This is Strawn. This is Senta. This is Distros. This is my mother, Gortham.
Matron Gortham? Nice to meet. Does she have the same name?
Well, yes, on my name day, I chose the name of the strongest warrior I know.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, I did not expect to see you here today. And she looks at Gortham with this, dagger glare. How did you come and not send ahead first?
It's a long story. We kind of ended up here by accident.
You ended up at my front door by accident, and she walks up, and you see her smack the back of his head.
I think we all get a chuckle out of that.
What the hell?
You don't understand. There was a magic portal, and I was hungry, and whenever I'm hungry, I think of your cooking, and it brought us to the temple where the soothsayer is.
You took a magic portal? Do you know how dangerous magic is? And she slaps him upside the back of the head again.
Not on purpose. It just kind of happened. We were out fighting the Umbral Horde, trying to raise an army, but my friends kept finding really weak soldiers, and they kept dying.
You were fighting the Umbral Horde?
Well, yeah.
And she, takes you by the shoulders and holds you back for a second and narrows her eyes. And then she goes, "My baby!" and holds you and just hugs you really tight. And you guys can hear his back cracking a little bit.
Your son's a very brave warrior.
Yeah.
So who are your friends exactly?
That's a bit of an odd story.
She looks at Desatrikos. What's your name?
I'm Desatrikos of the Order of the Jade Phoenix. Is that what it's called again? I can't remember that.
The Jade Lotus.
Jade Lotus.
Oh. I see. You certainly keep interesting company, son.
And who are you? On that since arriving.
She looks to Strawn.
I also am of the Jade Lotus. I am Strawn Graydon.
I see. So all of them are with you in that order that you joined?
Yeah. It was more like conscripted.
I see. And Senta, would she know you?
There's a good chance, if my people were in trade with theirs.
And, oh my stars. Do my eyes deceive me, or is that Santa?
And there's a grin, but this one is not at all on edge in any way. I'll walk up and hug her.
Oh, she gives you a hug. She lifts you off the ground and hugs you tightly.
Oh, it's been forever. How are you?
It has. Oh, dear, please come and rest your feet. I am making dinner here. While Gortham sets the table, you can regale us of his exploits.
And I like, okay, so like, the grin that you give your sibling when like, you're about to like really embarrass them. I'm like, I'll make sure to make you sound good.
And so she immediately sets Gortham to setting the table. Whether you do or not is up to you. But
Oh no, he would absolutely set the table. This will be like the meekest you ever seen Gortham. He's a
I'd love
mama's
to
boy.
hear about some stories of Gortham before we knew him. To be honest with you, what was little Gortham like?
oh, you know how little Minotaur calves are, always getting into something, don't you know? He was real good for trying to enter this tournament that we've got coming up actually tomorrow morning, come to think of it. And despite his little size, he always tried and got his butt thoroughly whooped.
I'll sort of pat Gortham on the head. That's so good that you tried, little G.
He was trying from a very early age too.
Well,
But you know,
hopefully this year he'll win. In fact, it's pretty important that he does.
that must be why you came, isn't it?
Well, we're trying to put an egg back together.
You're trying to put an egg back together,
Yeah,
son.
they
Do
say
you
you
know how
can't
eggs
uncrack a
work?
cracked egg, but we're trying to do that.
And she just sort of gives you a bewildered look for a minute and then looks to Senta as if, like, looking for help.
No, it's pretty much just as he says.
Hey, you remember how the Phoenix died and everyone got angry?
Yes, I do remember that.
We're trying to
remember
undo
when-
that.
Oh! And how are you going to do that exactly?
Oh, it's a phoenix egg. It's kind of
shard-
natural magic.
The shard that is in the gong, we need that piece.
Oh, I see. Well, I won't tell you what I think about the world's need of magic right now, but suffice it to say, good luck to you.
I'd
I
like
hope
to-
none of you mess with any of that evil business.
Well, to be completely fair, I do, and if I'm not welcome in your home, I will leave.
I see. And she looks at Gortham and then looks at Senta.
He's a good man.
Oh yeah, there's four guards outside.
Oh, I noticed. They are not welcome in my home. I can't feed an army. What's wrong with you, boy? Oh,
Well,
and
I did not invite
was-
them. They just decided to come along.
I was sincere in my offer. If I am not welcome, I will leave. I will not force my presence upon you.
if you are a friend of this household and you do not destroy my home, you may stay.
I will not use magic in your presence or in your house. I will not do anything to disrupt your belongings and your beliefs and practice.
I knew Gortham would have to deal with mages at some point going to that Jade Lotus.
Oh,
Well, when your people are ruled by magic for so long and you have that history, it just sort of becomes inbred into you a little bit.
it's all right, Mom. I got it all worked out. You see, like attracts like. He's magic. He attracts other magic, and then the magic.
Oh, I see. Well, very well. then.
Strategy.
That certainly is a strategy. Santa, honey, how have you been?
Oh, well, you know how it is. It wasn't great for a while going there, but it's starting to look a little bit better. At the very least, it's going to.
Oh, you know, there's about a dozen dwarven caravans in for the festival.
Huh. I may well have to look into that.
So, with that being said, though, tell me about you. What have you done since you left us?
I mean, mostly the same things that Gortham's been doing. We joined the same order. We've been fighting the same fights. We've been rebuilding the ranks, and she'll like go on to like actually give her a pretty in-depth explanation of like what they've been up to.
I see. Well, that sounds very adventurous. I'm glad that he has somebody with him with a good head on their shoulders to keep him from doing anything stupid.
Gortham looks
try
very
very
sheepish
hard.
at that.
We try very hard. We are not always successful.
Yes, I tell you, my boy is most definitely a joy and a delight, and he is strong as strong can be, and he can take about a dozen hits before he falls. But this boy, and she sort of looks at you and then looks at them. He does not always have the best head on his shoulders. You have to forgive him. He tries. He really tries.
His impetuousness has been a benefit to us more than once.
That's true.
We wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for your son's boldness.
I see. So he's brave too.
Oh, yes.
I knew he was brazen, but bravery is something altogether different.
When we defeated the crown span of Jade Hold, we would have surely perished if he hadn't been there.
You defeated one of those terrible monsters with the horrible legs and the opening mouths and closing mouths and whatnot.
Indeed.
It was gross.
And costly. We're all that's left of the order now.
Oh, my baby. And she goes over and gives you a hug. But don't let me keep you. I need to get to dinner. And so she sets about getting the dinner set to the table and served. It is all in one dish. It is a variety of savory and hearty meats with potatoes, green vegetables, peppers, and just a barrage of spices, but in the best way. It's like you're having a whole symphony in your mouth. And when all is said and done for dinner, she begins cleaning up without expecting Gortham to raise a single hand.
Is there any do you have any little brothers or sisters or anything?
Do you have any little brothers or sisters, Gortham?
A dozen.
A dozen.
A dozen?
A dozen. But they'd all be grown and moved out by now.
Oh, okay.
Where's father at, mother? Where's Titus?
Oh, baby. You must not have gotten the letter. We sent it to the hold. But I guess if it was damaged, maybe you didn't get it.
The hold is more like a hole now.
Son, your daddy passed.
What happened?
When those terrible creatures rose up, the temple was destroyed, and the centipede like legs just began crawling, and it made its way across that stairway, and it started to come in the town, and your father and about, well, I'd say 50 others were holding it back at the base of the stairway, and he was knocked over the edge in the fight.
You sure he's not just still climbing his way back up?
And her misty eyes start running with tears just a little bit as she chuckles. No. He would have been back by now if that was the case. It's been a year.
Can you tell me the spot where he fell?
I can take you there.
I would like that.
All right. Well, do you want to go now, or do you want to wait until we get cleaned up?
After we get cleaned up.
All right. And so she finishes cleaning up.
I can take care of the dishes if you wish to.
I think we would like that. Thank you. And she takes you outside, and when one of the guards starts to follow, she gives them a look that would wither a mountain.
So
And-
before we head out, I'm gonna go to my old room where I have some things stashed and bring them with me.
Okay. You can absolutely do that. And so you make your way with the guard following at a safe distance back to the stairway where you were first apprehended. And she takes you to the ledge. This is where he fell. He was thrown clean off like a true warrior. He gouged off one of those terrible, I think it looked like a petal or a flower. He managed to get one off, and so it couldn't hurt the others as much. And when he did, it just bucked and threw him off.
Let's see, I will, if you don't mind, Mother. I wish to be alone here.
That's absolutely fine. Here. And she reaches into this pouch she has that's kind of hanging off her hip. These were his, and he forgot to wear them because of the suddenness of the battle. But I know he would want you to have them to fight this battle you've got going on. And she hands you these very ornate metal clasps that they have different sigils and symbols carved into the metal. And you have been given a set of bracers of defense.
Ooh. I will. Are they actual bracers, or can I like? Can I kind of turn them into more like Minotaur hair jewelry, like almost like beard braids?
Oh, you could definitely do that.
Not hornlets. You know, you wear them on your horns.
No, not hornless. So
Yeah,
I
you can definitely do that.
I begin, just kind of like muttering under my breath and telling stories of myself and my dad to the open air of the mountain, and intertwining them into my facial fur. And after I do that, I get out my war gong and I hang it from my side, and I will beat it with one hand, and as I do, and I can kind of continue with these like ritualistic storytelling. I reach into my pouch and grab the things that I grabbed from my room. There's just little carved soldiers, toys really, and which with each beat and each story, I chuck one over the edge to where my father fell, and I'll do that for several hours until like midnight, and once I've finished, I'll head back to my mother's house, to our family. I said my goodbyes to Titus.
All right. So the night wanes, and eventually the moon rises, the stars are out as you finish telling your stories. And at this point, your mother is probably the weakest you've ever seen her. She is just a tearful mess, and the fur on her face is just matted to her muzzle as she wipes away the tears. And she looks at you and says, we were always hard on you because out of you and all your siblings, you were the bravest. And this world does not reward brave people, son. This world punishes bravery and heroism. And we wanted you to know how to survive. But I don't know.
Well,
I suppose as a parent, you always wonder if if you did it right.
You and Father must have done a great job because I am still here. I've faced dangers that much older Minotaur have not encountered, and I've somehow always have made it through, even when others that I've traveled with have not. I attribute that to the upbringing, the education, the harshness you and Father imparted upon me. Without your guidance, even though you were not there with me, I surely would have perished. Thank you. I wish only I would have had a chance to thank Father for what he imparted upon me. I will strive to make him proud.
Well, that's the great thing about our ancestors, son. As long as you remember them, and you remember the lessons that they taught you, they stay with you, and they watch you from the mists. Because every time you remember them, their stories, their lessons, part of who they were, it calls to them, and they look at you through the veil of illusions. I know he's looking at you right now.
From this point on, every mage that breathes their last in my presence, the last thing they shall hear is Father's name as I whisper it to them upon the wind.
We should go. We don't want to leave your friends to that terrible fate of having to entertain those 3 soldiers. And she side-eyes the one that's sitting about 30 feet away from you guys.
Well, and you might have to do a really deep cleaning after they leave. Strawn
They
really
better not have
likes his
come.
magic.
They better not have come in my house. Santa knows that. If she has not held them off, that girl will only experience the start of my wrath. And she stands up. She offers you a hand to help you stand, even though you know that she probably couldn't lift you. And assuming that you want to, you make your way back.
Yeah, that's absolutely what we want to do. Go back to the group.
What were the rest of you doing during this time? We'll start with Senta and then work our way around.
All right, so first of all, we do need to get things cleaned up, and I would have helped Strawn with that. After which, when I am very sure that the guards are not going to try to enter her home, because I know how she feels about that, I want to go see what the dwarves are trading.
Okay.
See what I can find out.
Okay. So you find a caravan full of dwarves with green and yellow gemstones in their eyes, which you would recognize are part of the craftsmen and the merchants. The craftsmen
Anyone
are
I know?
yellow, the merchants are green. Make a general D20 roll. We'll see.
Okay.
Happenstance check, like you call them. I like that.
14.
14, yes. You see a person. You know that dwarves actually, while there are non-binary people represented in every race in the world, dwarves especially are known for their fluidity of gender because of the way that you develop in the amber pods and sort of come to your personhood before you are born, as it were. And so you see a person, they have a thick layer of scruff with a handlebarred mustache, long swooping hair that covers one of their 2 very, very green eyes. And you see that this person also has like a shard of emerald just jutting out of their shoulder. And their clothing is sort of designed not only to accommodate, but even accentuate this. And you would know this person as Jen.
Okay. So I'm gonna like walk up. What is Jen selling?
So you walk up, and Jen is currently vending necklaces, but whenever they see it, they drop this precious jewelry and go.
Can I try to catch it?
You can absolutely try to catch it. Make a sleight of hand check.
25.
25. You
Pros
catch
are
it
good at a couple
nimbly.
of things.
You catch it nimbly, and Jen sort of pauses for a minute. Oh wow! Oh wow! Senta!
Right? Yeah.
Senta! It's
And I will
it's Senta, and they look
offer the
back and
necklace
forth
back.
as if to like see to tell somebody, and there's just nobody paying the mind right now.
Don't worry about it. I will like set the necklace on the table where it was going to be set in the first place. Oh,
Oh, we
we
lost,
lost
Ted.
Ted.
No.
Oh no. So Jen immediately just grabs you by the shoulders and shakes you as if not sure whether they want to hug you or like greet you with a distant greeting or something. They're not really sure right now. And finally they settle on a hug, and they're like, you joined that order, the Jade Lotus.
Yes.
What happened with that?
Okay. So, and I'm gonna like look around to make sure that people still aren't paying attention.
Mhm.
Look, I'm not sure how much time we have to talk before we start drawing down unwanted stares, but and I'm not sure how aware you are of this, but there's something rotten going on down there. And I joined the Jade Lotus because I figured it would be the easiest way to, how do I put this? Gather reinforcements.
Oh,
So how are things? Is everyone okay?
I mean, and they look back and forth. So, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, we never show weakness
Mhm.
around others. We never let them know about the deep halls. That's not a thing we do.
Okay,
So this is strictly between you and me.
of course.
There are Umber spawn that our armies are barely able to hold back. The Azure army is struggling, losing people daily. The stones of the dead have piled at the roots of the mother tree at this point. There's just piles of blue everywhere.
Well, that is what we are here for. That is what we exist to stop from happening. So I will bring my men and we will come and see what we can do to help you.
No.
No.
Senta, you don't understand. It's so much worse. They're organized.
So are we.
No. You know that the Umber creatures are monsters, right? Like beasts.
Yes.
Like they don't have minds to do those sorts of things. And they've organized, they've militarized.
Jen, I have spent the past several years fighting them. I know.
I don't know what it is. It's like they're rallying around something down there.
All the more reason for us to go and find out what it is. We need to know.
Well, about a year ago is when it started, just after this enormous centipede monster erupted from the chamber. It nearly killed the mother tree.
That is one of 3 that I know of happening just like that. We fought and killed one of them.
Yeah, but it left something behind, Senta.
What was it?
A ring?
I see.
Like a glowing ring above the tree.
Was it green?
No, it was yellow.
Okay.
Sometimes kind of reddish, but mostly yellow.
Okay.
And it is, it's done something terrible.
What happened?
Jen starts trying really hard not to cry.
I will hug them. It's all right. Take your time. But I do need to know.
The mother tree is sick and dying,
Okay.
and no more dwarves are being born to replace the army.
What are they doing about this?
Nobody knows. The Amber Chamber's been closed. I only know because I got in. I went to speak with her the day before that they closed it. She told me that. And I don't know who to tell or where to go. But if I tell anyone down there, I'll disappear, just like everyone else who says anything like that.
They can't get away with doing things like that. They can't get away with treating us that way.
Well, they do.
Well, they won't.
You know how it works down there.
I
The
do.
only thing you're worth is what the color of your gem says you are.
Well, maybe it's time we changed what that color means.
And how are you going to do that, Senta? You're gray.
Yeah. Yeah, I am, and I'm still me.
I love you to pieces. You know that. But this is bigger than us.
I know. But it's bigger than every individual down there, too, and the people that are holding us in these rigid spaces. They're just people, too.
I mean, I know in my head you're right, but you don't live down there. You don't live with it.
I did.
And you don't have anything to lose.
No, that's why I'm the one that's going to be taking this risk. You just keep your head down and keep doing what you're doing.
I want to help. I really do, but I'm afraid.
That's okay. It's okay to be afraid. This is scary. These are scary things. Just the only thing that you can do is what you can do. And I know you. I know you're doing everything you can.
Yeah. Let me do something else. I could get in a lot of trouble if I do this, but it's for you. And they reach into this pack and they produce a purple necklace. Now, you know that for the laws of the dwarves, you're only allowed to wear colors that align with your gemstone color.
Well, technically there is purple in mine still. It's just kind of hard to see amid the black.
Take this. Use it well. Use it carefully.
I will clasp my hand over Jen's and give a nod, and I'm like, I will.
That will help keep your mind safe because they're reaching into minds right now.
I know. I'm aware. I am well aware of what's going on down there. That's what got me exiled in the first place.
So that will protect you. Keep it safe.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And they give you another big hug. I'm so sorry I can't do more. Maybe one day I'll be brave like you.
It's not about being brave. It's about being in the right place at the right time. And maybe the stars will align for you one day, but until that happens, you just stay safe, and that's the best that you can do for anyone.
Okay.
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 And like when I put that on, I will do so like under my jerkin so that it's not like visible.
Okay. Do you want to come with us when we go back after the festival?
I'll have to ask my companions, but that's a pretty good bet.
With the state of the way things are, I can't imagine that even the Chroma nobles will be able to say anything about us bringing 4 members of the Jade Lotus down, especially with what's happened.
Especially with what's happened and what's happening. Just if they cause trouble, let me worry about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And they give you one more hug and go back to arranging their wares for the following day.
Cool.
Desatrikos, what are you doing? You're muted.
Sorry. I would have just hung around Gortham's house because it seemed like people didn't really like Larry that much to begin with. But while there, I'm not gonna snoop around. Like, I'm not gonna go in, like, go through stuff. But I kind of want to just like look around the house and get an idea of like who Gortham is more as a person. Like, is there like, I know there's not like photo albums and stuff, but just like, I don't know. But, he doesn't know much about like this close of Minotaur culture and stuff.
So
He's not
I'm gonna
gonna
let
snoop.
Dave take this.
He's
What's
not
that?
going to snoop, but what's in the medicine cabinet?
Yeah, I'm not gonna like go through stuff, but I might open an errand drawer and just be.
So, so when you kind of go through things, I think like the architecture for the Minotaurs is kind of open and spacious, especially because they tend to be big and bulky, and they've got horns and hooves and
Like what's it like? What's
tails.
Gortham's room like? Like, let's say that
Yeah, so like his room is probably like the guest room now, but like you can see like it's actually the biggest room in the house because all the children kind of were raised in this room collectively together.
Okay.
And you can see the wear marks on the stone where the other beds were that had been since removed, and now there just happens to be 4 beds that are left. In this kind of like set up as a guest quarters. And there's still some of the like some artsy and craftsy stuff that has been left over from the various siblings that have the nicer stuff anyway that's kind of been mounted on the wall or put on a shelf.
So like, is Gortham like, from what I know about him and like his attitude, is he kind of like stereotypical of Minotaurs, or is he like, it doesn't seem like they're, like
he
it
is kind of
seems
like Minotaur turned dialed up.
Okay.
He fully embraces Minotaur society and culture. Maybe a little bit too much. And
That's
and
what
also
I was, yeah.
also like he's also a little extreme in the sense that like he's willing to work with magic users if he thinks it'll get him a crack at more magic users. So a little, so in that sense, a little bit of a rebellious streak.
So I
Like,
guess.
I was going to say sparring weapons on the wall, kind of thing. Or
yeah, there would definitely be different sparring weapons. Matter of fact, like instead of saving like report cards, that's what Minotaurs probably save, like the wooden weapons, and you can probably see progression from wood to dull metaled edges to live steel, and it's like instead of baby's first boots, it's baby's first
Great
axe.
Yeah.
And you probably do find a family book that kind of tells a little bit of like the history and the family tree, so you're able to like find all the names of his siblings and his grandparents and aunts and uncles. And what you kind of like figure out too is like this whole building is pretty much just his extended family.
Oh, okay. So I guess in Strand, you were like hanging around there a bit to like clean and stuff, right?
So I would have taken care of the dishes, and then I would have either stepped outside if like there was any kind of like patio space or
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Is there any kind of like balcony or something?
Or I was going to like just sit against the outside wall of the house, in whatever would be the most either like natural or the least amount of traffic, and I would sit there and I would begin carving on the piece of marble that I picked up.
Right, so
all the Minotaur dwellings have balconies, especially the higher up. One, because they like the open air, but 2, they also want to see what's coming.
Okay, so I would take the opportunity to brew like a really strong, smoky, hot drink that Larry make. That's sort of like coffee-ish, but like a chocolatey taste to it too, and offer some to Strand on the balcony.
He would absolutely take some, and
just sort of muse as I'm looking up at the stars and thinking like, I mean, because we're pretty high up too. Just like
Right.
I've never been this close to the pride before. It's kind of exhilarating, although a little scary as I look down and think about almost
There's-
dying earlier this day.
There is a lot going on, and it is even more dangerous for you and I.
Do you think Gortham truly loathes you and I?
I don't
mean,
think he loathes us. We are a means to an end to him, is kind of how I take it. It's kind of like saying you are the best piece of trash in the pile.
At least we know where we stand.
You know, I don't hold it against those who have been brought up to have their worldview closed off and not take in the benefits that what we do can help, so many others. I
They've
mean,
hid themselves from the pride for too long in this place up here, the world below. In trouble.
we've got the ability to remove diseases, heal wounds. Heck, there are many who, not many, but there are some who can even bring back the dead if need be. I'm possessed of a lot of different types of magic. Some marked on me through my travels, some marked on me through rigorous study, and to say that what I do is wrong and illegal, it's
It does
preposterous.
seem mad, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the whole time I'm talking, I'm kind of I'll look over to you at certain points, but I'm working on this piece of marble, and you can see that it definitely takes some doing and some work, but you can
Sure.
see that I'm working on the kind of rough outline of a minotaur.
Oh.
And you can tell that just by like the sheer
Mhm.
the sheer amount of space I'm allowing for the horns.
The stone speaks to you.
In more ways than others. There's a connection there, and the Minotaur, and I gesture towards the temple. She claims that those who have the ability to undo those turned to statues hold great power, but it's not. I have not encountered many creatures that are like, I'll scratch the little lizard on my shoulder, that are possessed of the ability. But even I feel that connection, that I could reach out and restore someone who has been turned into a statue, whether it be temporary or permanent. It's there. It's power budding within. It's magic. It's a connection. I just don't understand how those people can feel closed off from a world that offers so many beneficial things.
I'd suspect that they've been deeply hurt by magic in the past. They've just simply grown mistrustful and sort of stuck in their own ignorance since.
At this point, one of the guards watching you guys snorts and dismisses the other as if to say he could take a break.
Okay.
And then he walks up to you two.
So I would kind of continue with
I
what
attack.
that's Trikos would say. Now here's the real crux. How do they know about my casting of the spell without a spell that detects magic.
Well, to be honest, I saw it.
You saw from way down there. How did you know I didn't just pull out a whip?
Because
Because you use magic, don't you?
I felt it, yeah. But when you have it, you have to hide it around here.
So if you saw it, who reported it?
I did.
This is duty. It's the law. I understand.
So you use
Doesn't make
magic.
it right.
You use magic.
Upholding your
Someone
people's
else do it.
laws is right.
I don't try to use it, it just happens to me. I don't want it. If I could get rid of it, I would.
These are gifts. I myself have similar gifts from the bride. It helped you uphold your city's laws and do your duty right by your magister. You did the right thing. But if you're looking for a place where you can be accepted, we could use all the help we can get. We weren't lying. There's not but us left of the order. It's pretty bad out there.
Well, if you're members of this Jade Lotus and you have proof, I could be conscripted, but otherwise there's no way for me to leave here.
You mean
At
if
least
we? Oh, do we?
not as
That's out of
myself.
game. Like, do we have that kind of like authority to just conscript?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yep.
But
If that's something you'd like, we can make that happen for you.
if you would take me, I would go. But you got to understand, your people have a god. So
Yeah,
when
many
you
of
have
them.
clerics that show up, you know who they're chosen by. Our gods are dead. But I do miracles like a cleric. And I don't know where that comes from.
Well, we can help you find that answers to that if you'd like.
So based on what he said, I think Ted has an idea of what's going on. But Strawn is proficient in Arcana.
Uh-huh.
Would he know what this guy's talking about?
I could aid you with a beard guri.
You
Well, I think we're on the balcony, so I don't want to use magic.
Oh yeah.
you do know that in general, whenever someone manifests magic, it's usually innate.
Mhm.
Sorcerers can become wizards through study. But clerics and druids, there's not a lot that tells what has given them
Right.
this. Usually,
Well-
if you have cleric powers, people around you assume that you were chosen by your god to have this power. And
This
so
guy's
you are
kinda scared.
conscripted into the church of your...
But there is
People.
also divine soul sorcery, which is what it
Mhm.
sounds like this guy's talking about.
Or this
Wow.
guy's just scared because some god chose him and they don't have any gods, so he's not.
You would know that having seen him move and fight and everything, he's a little too naturally good with weapons and armor to be a sorcerer.
Okay. All right.
He is a cleric. He just doesn't know what god chose him.
Does he seem like scared by what he's saying? Like because
very
like,
much
I
so.
don't know what like maybe some evil
Yes.
god chose me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well I'll try to be comforting them. I'm pretty insightful and stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll just tell them like, what's your name, son?
My name is Corvo.
Well, Corvo, I would, on behalf of my people, I would be more than happy to help you discover those answers. And we could certainly use all the help we can get.
I would like
mu-
that.
How much do you know about the Jade Lotus?
That you fought monsters in history and then you killed the Phoenix and it never came back. And
How
that
much-
was just the last one out of all of them that had been being killed or disappearing.
How much do you know about the Umbral Horde?
I know that they are terrible monsters and that people can become those terrible monsters if you come in contact with the blood. There's rumors that if someone does something terrible, they can become a monster like that. But it takes a lot.
The serious problem with this world right now is that most things cannot deliver a killing blow to the Umbral. You could round up all of your soldiers and march on the Umbral creatures, and most of you would just become part of the Umbral Horde. It takes certain abilities. To an extent, it takes magic, which is why we have been looking to try and rebuild and regrow the Order and to teach the power of the Green Flame to as many that are willing to learn and control it and use it for the betterment of this world.
Well, I would like that. I'd like to be part of something bigger than me, bigger than this, that I know what I'm serving. Because right now, I don't know where this, and he does a little thaumaturgy sort of thing, and you watch as this spiraling black and silver shadow tornadoes in his hand briefly before dying away into falling sparkles.
I will help you discover these answers, Corvo.
We can absolutely assist with that.
Well, thank you.
But first, we've got to win this tournament tomorrow. Do you have any pointers? I'm a little worried. I mean, Gortham is pretty large, but
Well, so weapons are allowed.
Aren't
Most
allowed?
don't. They are,
Oh.
but most choose not to use them because they see it as a sign of weakness. The Magister did approve for you to use magic, so I mean, use what you've got. But if you win,
I'm not going to be winning any crowd points. I guarantee you that. But I've got a number of tricks up my sleeve that I plan on doing.
I see.
yeah, my people would be extremely disappointed in me if I didn't put on the utmost show.
I mean, I believe that. The Aslari aren't exactly known for subtlety.
Exactly. And as for weapons, I'll just like put my claws out. Like, I've got that covered too.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I better post up because she'll be back at any minute, gesturing towards the guard that he had dismissed. So maybe we should all get some rest before tomorrow.
Indeed.
I
Thank
think,
you for trusting us, Corvo. That must have been very difficult.
It was less difficult to do with people that were braver than me, brave enough to be open about what they do and who they are.
Yeah. You heard of some of what we were talking about. Magic is not as you were taught. Magic is a tool. I'll point towards the pole arm. You could take that pole arm and go and attack anyone you want with it. It is the choice, the mind, the arm, the will behind the tool that makes the choice of how to use something. Don't allow the past to misguide you about that which you were given.
All right. Thank you. And he offers you a hand.
I will take it.
It is much larger than yours.
No, I'm well aware.
So Senta eventually returns. Gortham eventually returns. And all of you, unless you want to do something else, take a long rest.
I'm gonna take my long rest in a cloister of combs though, because I haven't done that yet. Which is basically just Liamon's tiny hut, except my fur makes a dome just around me.
Are you going outside to do this? Or you
No.
do it in the house?
I'll do it in the house, like in a corner. Just like
So basically a fur cocoon.
yeah, it's like a big hairball. Like
Oh my god.
like a 7-foot diameter hairball.
Oh my god.
So
And you were worried about Strawn using magic in the house.
What's in that?
Oh my
I
god.
have to
Imagine the
feel like-
size of
like-
the cat that coughed that up.
I feel like Desatricos is like that. He doesn't feel like he's casting spells. Like the pride just gifted him that he can control his fur. It's not, I'm not casting. I mean, in the game I am casting spell, but that's how I look at it.
So you guys go to bed for the night. You wake up the next morning, and it is the morning of the Four Winds Festival. The tournament is upon you early in the morning. You find your way to the boards to discover that the first matchup is between Senta and Desatricos.
Oh, against each other? Oh.
Uh-huh.
Well,
That's so neat.
And that is where we are going to cut off for tonight.
Excellent. Thanks for running, Steven, and thanks everyone for playing, and thank you everyone who watched. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel.
Up
Some
there
of us
again.
couldn't wait to leave, apparently.
It's like, later, bitch.
Yeah, but on that
Peace
note,
out.
until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
nerdy.
He noped.